All right, we got this movie called The Conference. Ain't just here to talk shit. Anyway, so it starts up with this group that travel into this random spot, right? You got a girl by the name of Alina, you got Ava, you got Annette, got this old dude named Toby, you got this dude named Jonas, you got this chick named Angela, Jonas's brother Kay, and you got a chick named Nadia. So the reason they go to this random spot is they're supposed to be building up a shopping mall or whatever like that, right? And then they'll go to this like hotel spot called the Valley, but it's set up like houses. So when they get there, the tourists and the waiter and the cook and everybody comes outside or whatever like that, right? And they start greeting them in. And the cook is bringing them like champagne glasses outside. I'm like, you could have waited till at least got inside. But the thing is, he ends up accidentally dropping them all in anyway. I'm like, what the fuck? And then they're talking in the conference room about all these ideas and stuff like that. Then they got this phony ass commercial talking about you got nice people here, but they're getting robbed by gangs. But gangs wouldn't be here if we had this shopping mall. I'm like, the fuck? Just saying, obviously, if it was built up like a nice community, whatever like that, gang members or people that are poor wouldn't be able to live there anyway. So I'm just like, the commercial was so cheesy as fuck. Now, Angela's the one sponsoring this thing. Of course, Jonas is right-hand man right on the side of that. And they just look at this commercial like, really? So everybody can't really agree on one thing. And they're like, we got to calm our voices down. Remember what happened the last time we went crazy? Then they get his backstory about this dude named Francis that was going crazy. He just ran up on her and stabbed her in the shoulder. I'm like, what the fuck? So then Lena keeps talking about these contracts that she didn't sign or whatever like that. Now, what are these contracts for? Because apparently the land they're supposed to be building this shopping mall on used to be the land of this farmer. The thing though is the farmer was never compensated for what it was. The thing is, she's thinking that she didn't sign these contracts, but they're telling her, yeah, you did. So we're thinking like, does she have amnesia or something? Like, what's going on? So Jonas is talking with her one-on-one. You're thinking to yourself like, did she really forget that she signed contracts? Or like, what's going on here? So then the cook ends up leaving. He's going out of delivery truck. I guess he's gonna get some food for, the people for like, lunch and dinner and stuff like that. Supposed to be accommodating and whatnot. So he's driving, all of a sudden he runs over this board with nails in it. For some reason he starts looking around in the forest or whatever like that. He goes out in the forest and sees these wires or whatever connected. So he's like touching the wires like, what the fuck is going on? All of a sudden he gets attacked at his back and he's done deal with his shit. Who the hell just killed the cook? So everybody came to this certain spot in this one van. I want you to keep that in mind. There you go. So then Jonas lets one of the dudes know like, hey man, we out of toilet paper. So the bellboy goes in the room, gets him some toilet paper, whatever like that. Then he takes one of their beers. I'm just like, really, dude? So anyway, he takes one of the beers, right? He sits on his hammock. All of a sudden, this machete goes right through his back. We're like, what the fuck? The bellboy's did this shit. What the fuck did he do? How did he get back to the spot that damn fast? Then he wraps him up in a hammock and buries him underwater. But then I'm like, the way he's pushing him down, it's like he's standing in the water. So like, how deep is the fucking water? And you're just pushing him down. It's like, come on. Lena ends up talking to this dude named Amir. Like, she's the only person that she really rocks with out there. So she starts talking with him about the situation with the contracts and the farm or whatever like that. And Amir's like, you didn't know? The guy's dead as shit. Some dude named Picasso. So the reason she didn't remember signing these contracts or whatever like that is the fact that she had went on sick leave or whatever, for whatever reason. So it turns out after the farmer Picasso was forced to sell the land, he ended up hanging himself. So the contract thing should be going out the window, right? Then the tourist is looking around. She's looking for food or whatever like that. It's like, what the fuck is the food they fixed? She got to give them hot dogs instead of salmon. And the hot dogs are cold. I'm like, how do you have cold hot dogs? The fuck? So then she can't find the bellboy or the cook. We already know where they at. So by the time she goes downstairs, right? But they don't show us what happens just yet. Now all our peoples meet up with this training lady, right? And now they about to go on this team building exercise and whatnot. They got them building rafts out of plywood and plastic bottles and whatnot. Now the thing was, before this, Jonas had tried to put on this like helmet and this little outfit or whatever, like a mascot or something like that. He was just trying to make people laugh. And then Angela ended up talking to him later on, say he's going to be the leader of the project. He ended up giving him this gold shovel. I'm getting to something here, trust me. So then when they did this team building exercise, right, the lady confiscates their phones or whatever like that so they can focus on their bodies. So they put in this container. So while they're gone, meanwhile, this crazy motherfucker, he just snatched up the phones, destroyed them shits, and he snatches up the helmet that he had on the scoot or whatever like that. Now he's running around with this helmet on now. He's about to cause more business. We're going to call the killer Scoot because he has the Scoot helmet or whatever like that. So there you go. So back to the tourist that went downstairs. She's downstairs all of a sudden. We see Scoot coming out the door and he starts to melee it. She tried to run, but then he is with a metal frying pan, gets on top and starts to bash it. Tourist done deal dead as shit. That's 3 victims already. So now people's are doing another team exercise. This time, they try to go through a zip line or whatever like that. They try to get Lena up on the zip line, but for some reason, she's not trying to go up there. Maybe she's afraid of heights. Who knows? And Kay calls her a chicken, starts doing chicken noises. I'm like, when did this... Even when I thought to myself back in the day, does that really get people mad so they can do something? This is like... chicken noise. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So anyway, she gets mad and ends up going back to the cabins. But the thing is, she ends up going to Jonas's room. Now, why is she going there? She goes and looks through his laptop and finds out not only did she not sign the contracts were forged in her name. He's basically trying to partner up with another company, and the contracts were made about a month ago. But they try to make it seem like she signed them last week. So basically, he forged everything on her behalf. And so she really didn't sign the contract. So now she made herself a flash drive. She got the evidence. So she ends up linking up with Amira and Nadia and telling her the situation. Meanwhile, everybody else just chilling in the hot tubs. Meanwhile, Scoot setting up all these crazy-ass traps like a Home Alone flick. You already know this nigga about to cook. Most of the people end up getting out the tub later on. Toby and Ava end up going back to their cabin to get some food, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get something popping, you know what I mean? The old couple getting a rocket. Lena confronts Jonas talking about she gonna take this evidence to the police. Everybody else conjugates in their own rooms except for Annette just chilling outside playing music for Kay. Meanwhile, you got the trainer trying to look for their phones, so they're like, where the heck did their phones go? She goes downstairs and looks in the closet, ends up finding the tourist's body done dead as shit, and then she turns around, there's Scoot right there, and then he finishes off the trainer. The funny thing is he gets this big-ass cartoon mallet and bashes her in the head with it, and then gets on top and starts to pound it. That's his go-to, yo. He smacks somebody in the head and then just starts pounding the back of the head and shit. 4 victims for him. So while Aunt playing music or whatever like that, for Kay, he's just chilling in the hot tub. All of a sudden, Scoot comes out of nowhere. He's got a weed whacker, yo, and he puts it in his chest. He's like, ying, 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 deal, daddy shit. And that ends up running behind the building. Apparently, Scoot didn't see her or whatever like that. She's moving slow as fuck. Then all of a sudden, Angela's just walking around, and then Scoot just catches her off guard, and then bangs her in her face. He ends up wrapping a flagpole around her neck, and then just starts pulling on that shit, and hangs her up like a damn flag. This is when everybody sees this nigga. They're like, what the fuck? Everybody locks themselves in their room except for Alina and Jonas. They end up running the other way or whatever like that. So he's like slow, casually walking, chasing niggas. They end up getting into one of the little rafts they made earlier, and then they get away. So Jonas and Alina end up getting away in the raft, and then all of a sudden he's like, hey, yo, give me the flash drive. And then without no hesitation, no choice, she ends up giving him a flash drive. And then he kicks her out of the fucking raft. I'm like, this nigga. The thing was, Jonas got cut pretty bad when he was running through the woods. He ended up running into those wires, like half his head split open, you know what I'm saying? All his blood coming out. It's just crazy. He needs to stitch that shit back up or something, you know what I'm saying? So you think of this, how the fuck is he still alive? It's crazy. So now the old couple and Nadia and all them niggas is thinking to themselves, and Amir too, they're thinking to themselves, who the fuck would want to kill them? And then it's probably Francis. I'm thinking to myself, what beef did Francis have other than Angela? And we don't even know what the argument was about. It was just like, what the fuck? Then Amir ends up finding this article in the paper or whatever like that. And then he's thinking to himself, wait a minute. Didn't the farmer have a son? So the farmer had a son by the name of Peter. You know what I'm saying? Picasso's the father or whatever like that. So I'm thinking to myself, could he be possibly doing it? That's what I'm thinking. Then we found out later on that son was the first person to find his father hanging himself after losing his property. I mean, that would make sense if you wanted to murder these niggas. But anyway, so Nadia's thinking to herself, she's going to go outside because she wants to get the keys to get to the van so they could possibly get away. So she ends up getting the keys coming back, but then all of a sudden Scoot comes back and he ends up destroying the damn van by throwing fireworks at that bitch. I'm like, where the fuck did you get fireworks from? And all of a sudden we see Lena getting chased in the woods. She's ducking and dodging niggas. Amir's concerned he's going to try to find Lena, you know what I'm saying? But he almost gets dealt by Scoot, and then Lena snatches him up and saves him. Meanwhile, Scoot goes back to try to murk the old couples. He gets in there, old man Toby throwing these wild ass punches. I'm like, what the fuck is that going to do? They ain't doing nothing. And he ends up getting his ass whooped, but by the time he almost got finished, all of a sudden Ava tried to run out, and then she's staring off in the distance for a long time. I'm like, what the fuck is she staring at? So before Toby gets done deal, all of a sudden Ava comes back with a goddamn Grim Reaper sight. I'm like, where the fuck she get that from? She chased him out of the door and locked that door. She saved her man. Now they try to get together. They like, look, we got to finish this once and for all. Like, how you going to do this? Meanwhile, Lena and Amira trying to get away because they thinking they're on their tail or whatever like that. So they end up getting to the spot where the skyline was. I mean, the zip line. So he ends up making sure she gets over her fear and they get on it together and they zip across the thing. The problem is, on the other side, he's got a platform set up with like wooden spikes and shit. You're like, oh shit. Now I'm thinking to myself, Amir saw this, whatever like that, and he's damn near sacrificed himself because he turned around the other side so he would get hit by the fucking spike joints. You know what I'm saying? Now, she got hit, Lena got hit a little bit, but Amir was done deal dead as shit. One pierced right through his fucking heart. Now let me ask this. Couldn't he have tried to unclip the cord before they got to the other side? At least they would have just fell in the water. I'm like, what the fuck? Maybe they just didn't see it in time or have enough time to do it, but bottom line is just like, what the fuck? Now Lena wandering around the woods crying. Obviously she's mad because Amir's dead as shit. They got to a point where Nadia got caught in a bear trap or whatever like that, but she was able to fight him off inside of a fucking bear trap, was able to get the bear trap off, and then she was able to get away somewhere. Now between all this, Jonah ended up going to Annette or whatever like that, and she ends up helping him stitch up the little bit of part of his head somewhat, you know what I'm saying, to keep it straight. And then both of them try to hop on the scooter to get it started or whatever like that. And then there comes Scoot or whatever like that. And they end up getting the scooter started. But he ends up leaving the net. He's like, fuck this shit, I'm going. I'm like, wow, she stitched up your head and you just gonna leave her? I'm like, you ain't shit. Crazy thing is, Annette thinks it's Francis too, so she's like, yeah, man, you ain't got to be doing this, da da da. I've been on your side the whole time, blah, 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 whatever like that. So she ends up taking off that helmet or whatever, and she's looking like, you're not Francis. Who are you? And then he puts a scythe in her head and just gives a done deal daddy shit. I'm like, then he puts the mascot helmet back on, he scoot again, back to more beef. So while Jonas is getting away, he ends up running over a bed of nails or whatever inside of this piece of wood, and the cart flops over this thing and flips over into the water and shit. I'm thinking he's done dead as shit, but I'm pretty sure he's not because it wasn't that fall of a fall or whatever. Pretty sure it's fucked his day up though. So we get back to the old couple. They try to arm themselves with weapons, you know what I'm saying? Toby's making sure Ava is doing all right. And Scoop ends up catching Ava off guard or whatever like that, and then Toby ends up finding the gold shovel. He ends up beating up Ava, and then it gets to a spot where he gets a drill or whatever like that. He's got the drill, he's about to drill it in her face or whatever, then all of a sudden, Toby comes out of nowhere, unplugs the drill. He finds this type of flamethrower and flame throws his fucking head and shit, whatever like that. But bottom line is, it's still a mascot head. He ends up finding some water dunking his head in that shit. Ends up whipping Toby's ass, and both Toby and Ava just laying there. And now he's about to set up for the kill, about to finish these niggas with this big ass scythe that came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, the gold shovel comes through and chops this motherfucker's head clean off. Who finished off Scoot? Turns out it was Nadia. She ended up picking up the gold shovel and whipping his candy ass. So then we go back to Lena. She's wandering around or whatever like that. All of a sudden, Jonas comes out of nowhere and tries to attack her. He ends up getting him in a chokehold somehow, then pull it back with his scalp and peel that shit off. And Jonas is finally done dead his shit too. So when he gets back to the cabin, the police are there. You think to yourself, how'd they get there? Well, apparently when her little walk, she ended up finding somebody's phone and calling 911. I guess one of the phones wasn't detected, so there you go. The only people left were Toby, Ava, Nadia, and Lena. There you go. The end. Last thing you see is the police picking up this dude's head, and then you look at this paper clipping. So now I'm thinking to myself, who was the villain? Obviously, it wasn't Francis because Annette seen his face and knew it wasn't him. I'm thinking it's got to be the farmer's son, Peter. It has to be. Who else could it be? Who else would cause all this mayhem? And he's finishing off niggas that's trying to build a shopping mall over his father's daggone farm plateau. On top of that, his dad hung himself because of the fact that he didn't get compensated for it. So it's like, that's motivation right there, right? Anyway, the conference on Netflix. You already know what time it is. Happy Halloween and all that good shit. Trick or treat, nigga.